Howdy, howdy. Welcome back to my channel. So in this video, what I'll be doing is I'll be doing a call review of one of my clients' calls. And specifically, it's going to go over how do I ask better questions to get below the surface to get to people's true motivations. Also, I'll be diving into how do we actually tie somebody's identity to them changing and doing what's best for them. Okay. If you don't know about me, my name is Christian Polk. So I've been in online sales for over 4 years, sold over $5 million worth of deals from B2B SaaS and different coaching offers. But for the past 2 years, I've been here at 7th Level with Jeremy Miner, where I've also been a sales coach and I've helped thousands of clients get better, make more sales, all that fun stuff. So I'll be doing this call review where specifically what this offer is going to be a mindset offer. So people need help as far as like getting aligned to their true identity. So that way that they'll make a change. So I'll break down how to actually ask better questions to get to the real pain and start to dig deeper. And in this call, it does go a bit long, but that's mostly because we weren't able to get to the pain quick enough and we didn't stay on point. Okay. So hopefully you find a lot of value in this call. If you have any questions, go ahead, drop them in the comments below. But if not, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Good way to get it back on topic.
What was it about, like, what you heard from kind of attracted your attention to begin with?
Nice.
Because basically his business is built on the back end of a book called Reality.
I would also, if you take a look back at your calls, if you find people are more going into the weeds or not giving you helpful information at the beginning, changing up, typically what I'll do is like, yeah, they left a little bit of notes, but that always gets lost in the translation. What about, whatever you saw or whatever it is that made you want to go ahead and book in the call today? To just get it a little bit more pointed at the beginning and then have those notes as more of a reference if you ever do need to bring some things up instead of like them going into the weeds for a couple minutes. That really doesn't help us.
Reality Transurfing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Have you read this book?
Of course.
Of course.
And so this book has always been fascinated me, and I'm reading. It's a large book, so I'm reading through it now. And I'm really attracted to this idea that, if you change your mindset, you can really, and if you're aligned, the book talks about like your heart and mind need to be aligned.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like at this point in my life, I'm not working as hard as I should be because, I wake up and I'm kind of like, I don't really know what to work on, if that makes sense. And so I just basically want to figure out that one thing that I can just, start working towards.
Right.
And yeah, it's tough, man, because there's so many options and there's so many things. And,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure like everyone else, I feel like I can achieve a lot and great things, but I just need like this personal alignment to be able to do that.
Sounds like what you're looking for is some clarity.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I mean, what have you maybe seen so far that has you kind of possibly looking to get some potential help with your mindset or identity?
I think in that question, we try to sound a little bit too neutral, but overall, it's still a good question. Like, what have you seen so far that even has you looking for that help?
What have I? Sorry, I didn't understand the question.
Yeah, it was a little bit convoluted, right? So that's what I thought. Like, it sounded a little weird, but if it lands, it lands. So I would just try to make that question a little bit more concise. What have you actually seen so far that would even have you looking for help with whatever? Looking for a way to actually align your heart and your mind?
What have you maybe seen so far that has you possibly looking to get help with your mindset or identity?
I would try to use his words because he didn't say mindset or identity. I do understand that that's what a lot of what the program goes over, but he's talking about aligning his mind and his heart, which again, does have something to do with mindset, but I would just use his words instead of using your words. Just simple.
I think for now, it's just, I guess, a lack of focus, and
Mm,
I'm not like tackling my problems. I know I have to like figure this stuff out
okay.
because it's not just gonna kind of the opportunity sometimes does fall on your lap, but I feel like you need to take action and start like creating output in order for that to happen. So I feel
Mm,
like right now I'm in this spot where I'm like, okay, I don't know if I should pursue being a painter full time, or I
Right.
don't know if I should continue with my online business making art. Or recently I'm doing crypto as well, and I've seen some success there. Um,
Scattered.
so it's and then in my master's I designed like a bunch of products.
mhm.
Um, like you know, so yeah, it's
I feel like right now we're just letting him ramble a little bit too much. Like he's giving you some good information and then he keeps going and then he trails off. I personally would try to at least interject a little bit sooner to pick up the conversation a bit and make it a little bit more conversational because then it dies out and then we're jumping in with our next question. So I would try to be a little bit more on top of the conversation to actually start diving into some of the different things like he's saying.
What
that's
what are you, what are you maybe currently doing right now or have tried to maybe gain clarity around what you actually want to do?
Okay, good.
um I've tried meditation. um I've tried trying to set up like daily non-negotiable habits that I need to like check off every day,
Yeah.
but I haven't gotten to the, I guess,
Right.
place where I can consistently do those.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah.
How
How
long
long?
have you been
Yeah, that's good.
kind of trying different things for?
Um, so I would say when I finished my master's degree, which was in October,
Hmm.
right? That's when I moved back home. So I studied in London and I moved back to Switzerland. And then I finished my master's degree, came back here, and since then I've basically been exploring all the options I have. I grew the online business which I have already, and I got it to in Q4. It was doing about 2K a month, so that's what
Hmm.
kind of did got me busy.
Uh huh.
And
Busy
then
at 2K a month.
after I did NFT art and on Twitter and crypto and stuff like that. And then at the start of the year, I traveled. I went to Japan, um,
Okay.
and then basically I started working in March. And
Hmm.
since I started working in March, on the side, I kept on doing this stuff, but kind of to a lesser magnitude because obviously I have a
He,
full-time job
he didn't
now.
really answer the question. He
Well,
just told you like
first off,
chronologically how it
kudos to
happened,
you
but
for being
didn't
willing
say
to take
like the actual
action
time
and
frame.
even explore entrepreneurship. Because it takes a lot of courage to do that.
Mhm. Yeah,
And you've done a lot on your own to even get yourself to this place. And at 22, you're doing pretty good, man. All right? So pat yourself on the back.
thank you.
But
Thank you.
I mean, so far, like at least with some of the things that you've tried, like are you
Especially with somebody being young, I personally never want to give them kudos for achieving things while they're young because oftentimes with young people, that's the out that they give themselves is, well, I'm young, I don't I have time. So I would take out the age. Uh, Definitely a good putting on a frame of him. Kudos to you for actually being, jumping into the entrepreneurial space because, there's a lot more reward, but that comes with a lot more risk, right? So it seems like, you're a bit of a risk taker. So you can put more of that frame on them. But I want to try to say, like, oh, you've achieved a lot at 22. again, especially if he did hop on the call earlier before and he is already qualifying himself to you, trying to play to his ego, and then we're stroking his. For me personally, I'd say stroking his ego a little bit too much.
Are you kind of satisfied with the results that you've seen?
I mean, I think I've generated probably like more than 10K from in profit from my online business.
Over how long?
Grew I grew a TikTok page.
So when they say like I've profited this with that, I would immediately start poking holes in it, because he already told you what his problem is. He has a hard time focusing, and he has a hard time tackling problems head on, so he doesn't actually do the things he sets out to do. Me personally, like, since he already told you that stuff, that's why I really like what have you seen so far that would even have you looking for help. Typically, I'm not going to ask, do you like the results you're getting so far? I'm going to dive in deeper to the focusing and tackling problems. So what do you feel like right now you might be missing, or what do you feel like you might be doing or not doing right now that is leading to that lack of focus and leading to you not really being able to tackle those problems that you need to head on? And then from there, I'm going to start to widen that gap. Because how often does that come about? What does that actually cause? You already have the problem. I would dive more specifically on what's causing it.
Kind of personal brand type thing. I made paintings, commissions for other people, and I sold those. So I would say I'm pretty happy so far. Yeah, I am very happy. But yeah, I just
Doesn't
feel
sound
like,
happy.
I have the hunger to achieve more.
Well, yeah, like it sounds like things are going, fairly well on that front, man. But is there anything that you might change specifically around the amount of money you're making or the time you're spending, if you could?
I mean,
So this is why it's really, I would say, need to get the specifics. When he said, I've already generated 10K with my online business, what's the time frame on that? Over how many months? He's told you he's at 2,000 per month right now. Okay. And he needs to get to 10. So we already know roughly what his numbers he needs to get to, or in his mind. Then I want to start to dive deeper on what's been preventing him from being able to get to that 10. Like, what's currently holding him back at the moment?
ideally both, to be honest. Like I know what's possible with online business.
Right.
And so, I think actually these, like, when people become successful, they actually end up working more just because they like it a lot and they have a bunch of stuff to do. And so I'm not really a fan of the narrative like passive income and all of that type of stuff, because there's always more work to do,
Mhm.
right? But you can also set up systems, and that's probably the biggest thing I've learned is you can set up a system that allows you to make money in a way that you're not actively working for that. Like you don't have to be in front of the counter selling whatever you're selling, because
Right.
you've set up a system that's either through SEO, customers finding you, or for example, he has content which is basically the top of his funnel and will drive.
So again, if right now we need to address his mindset and his mind and heart aligning, we're off into the weeds as far as like what he can do with online business and set up systems and all these different things. He just gave you a really good end that I would tackle is typically when they start doing better, they start working more because they enjoy it. He already told you he's not doing that. He has a hard time focusing and tackling his problems and doing the task that he sets out for himself. So why does he feel like he's having a hard time with that? What do you feel like is actually missing in your day-to-day that's making it to you set out these tasks every single day, non-negotiables, but we're not actually living up to it? Boom. I need to get on to the actual problem. Right now, we've kind of touched on the problem, but we haven't gotten to the real problem. Because ultimately, in my mind, in problem awareness, where I need to get to is them doing that for however long. Get to the real root of it, and how does that actually make them feel, knowing that they're not living up to the expectations that they set for themselves? That's the question that I really need to get to, and I need to make him do an audible. Yeah, it sucks. It really does suck. That's where I need to get him to.
People down to his business, right? So that's kind of the most powerful thing I think about online business, and
Mm-hmm.
what allows you to scale, far.
Is there anything that you can maybe pinpoint about your current mindset or identity that could be, really preventing you from being able to achieve that right now?
Maybe I feel like I am um, associating too much importance maybe to this
Mm.
thing, and you know
What kind of
that's
gives you that impression?
well, because I see it as something serious, whereas it shouldn't really be something that serious. Because I remember when I was, making art and doing these crazy paintings, like I was able to make these really, really cool looking paintings, but it felt effortless because I was in a state of play and in a state of
Mm.
flow, right?
Yeah.
And I think I need to achieve this and kind of transfer this into online business and kind of see it
Yeah.
as a state of play rather than, oh, I need to make this happen. I'm putting way too much importance, you know?
Yeah.
And so,
What,
this,
what would you say is behind that importance, though?
Good.
um, I think I want to have freedom in my life,
Mm.
and you know, I really see myself in entrepreneurship because
Yeah.
it gives me the possibility to travel or to kind
Right.
of choose my own hours, and that doesn't mean that um I wouldn't be working. I just enjoy the fact that I can choose what I work
Yeah.
on, when I work on, how I work on it.
Right.
So I really like this, and I think every human, people that are looking for success financially in general, like
Mm-hmm.
they they really just want freedom. Like it's less about the material items for me. Of course, those are nice.
Why is freedom important to you, though?
We need to, and it's good to get into what he wants. I feel like it might be a little bit too early, or why it's important to him, but I need to understand if the big problem is he's not able to get into a state of play, what is preventing him from being able to do that? And that's where that problem is. And him not being able to get into a state of play, it not being effortless like it should be. What is that actually causing? Can you give me some examples? How long has that been going on for? So you not doing these tasks that you set out for yourself and really not achieving what you need. I don't want to assume, because I run my business, I don't run yours. Like, how does that actually feel? Right there.
Freedom important to me.
A better way to do, why is that important to you? I would say I would leave this more for when we future pace, but where does that actually come from? Or why is that important to you? And the reason why I always ask it like that is because typically that main importance is going to come from something triggered in their childhood. So you asking them where it comes from, that's typically where it's like, they'll go back, oh, well, like this happened. Like that's where you're going to get the main importance. But I always try to like mask it a bit? Like where do you feel like that actually comes from? Or like why is it important to you? And they'll always answer it from something in the past, like from their childhood.
Well, that's a tough question. Like, I think it's important to everyone, you know, like nobody wants to be chained down and be told what to do
Hmm.
and basically be forced to do these things every day. It should come from a place of you doing it because you 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 do these things because they're part of your purpose.
Yeah,
Uh,
And so you're driven by that rather than people making decisions for you,
right.
you know?
exactly, man.
And he's given
Because
and
what we find,
and right now we're still not on the real problem is he's not doing what he says he needs to do. He's not tackling his problems. He's not driven. So he's saying if he had a true purpose, people with the true purpose, they are driven. So why is he lacking purpose? Why is he not driven? Why is he not doing those things he needs to do? Why is he not focused? Why is he not doing his checklist? Why is he not doing these things? There's something that's misaligned here that we kind of touched on it a bit, but we really haven't, busted through the door and got to the real root of it.
focus on is the becoming or the being, right?
Yeah.
Because if you have a clear vision of who you're becoming and who you're being, the doing to get there becomes natural. Every day you wake up knowing exactly what to do because you know who you're becoming and where you're going,
Yeah.
right? So, like Eduardo, I know you would be looking to.
So that's a good frame. I know I talked to you about this a bit before, but I would put that on him and create a distinction of who he needs to be and who he is right now in his mind. So you can even use that same frame because like when you're talking about you being that person who is in a state of play, making 10,000 each and every month and it's effortless. Like you hold yourself to a higher standard. Because right now, especially with our online business, we're that 2K guy. Is that right? Get them to buy in that that's right. I do have to ask, are you okay staying that guy? Because you are, I'm the first one to tell you, just keep doing what you're doing. So I want to push away a little bit. Oh, no, I'm definitely not. Well, why not? Get them to dig down deeper. Well, I do have to ask, if you're that 2,000 per month guy who has too much importance and can't focus for the rest of your life, what impact would that actually have? Boom. Like we really need to get to the root of it here. I feel like we're touching on some of these problems, but we're not diving deep into them and then making sure we're really twisting it and getting him tied up.
Generate about 10K a month,
Hmm.
correct?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, have you gone through any sort of coaching programs or mentorships in the past, or you just kind of been reading books and practicing meditation on your own, or have you looked at anything?
No, I've gone through a couple programs that were focused on Etsy itself.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, Etsy is the platform where I sell, and through those two mentorships, I was able to basically grow my business to where it's at now.
Okay.
Um,
Right.
the first one was really bad, to be honest, and the second one was pretty good.
Okay.
And
So that's
now I
more.
have from the second one, I have a mentor that's specifically for Etsy.
Hmm.
Um, and we used to talk quite a lot.
So he's talking more tactical stuff rather than mindset stuff. So I would just ask, well, do those programs like cover like the mentality or really how to align like your mind and your heart to have that purpose and that drive? Like yes or no? What do you feel like it was missing in that part if they did have it? Like what was missing? This is why it's really important to know how long he's been having this problem. So what's prevented you in the past year from getting professional help or getting advanced training on how to really have that purpose? That's going to be the root of it there.
But I think, now he's more busy, so we don't get to have a chance to talk as much. So yeah.
What would be kind of the main reason you're looking for like some possible outside guidance here when it comes to your mindset and identity, rather than kind of just continuing to do a lot of the stuff you have been on your own?
Again, I want to make sure I'm using his words. Mindset, identity. He has not said either of these words. So let's use his words. Purpose, aligning the mind and the heart. Let's use his words. That way it's going to resonate more with him. Because they mean the same thing.
Um, yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's that's also a good question. Like what I've come to realize is that from these coaching programs, right? Like as good as they are, it's really just if you don't put in the work yourself, like they can only give you guidance. So if
Right.
you don't put in the work, then
Yeah.
nothing's gonna change. It's just you can't buy
Right.
your like buy back the solutions to your problems,
Okay.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
So
no, I agree with you, man. Nothing changes unless we change.
Yeah.
All right. And one thing I see time and time again.
I would try to get him to say that. So what do you feel like was missing then? So they gave you the right tactical things. Like what do you feel like was missing in those programs that made it to where maybe you didn't put enough work in? Like whatever he was saying. What do you feel like was missing instead of us telling him?
And with our clients, man, is they already have the skill sets, and they're just not achieving the results, not because they're not trying to.
Right.
It's just their identity isn't in alignment with that skill set to actually effectively use it. Like, look at yourself like a supercomputer, right? You could have the most amazing hardware in the world. You could be
Right.
the most advanced computer in the world. You could go and download all the most up-to-date apps and softwares, and you can look at that like your skill set.
Yeah.
But if you're still running Windows 95, are you going to be able to use any of that stuff?
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what Windows 95 is, huh?
No, I do. It's the OS. It's the OS, the operating system.
Yeah.
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 So if you're running some old, out-to-date operating system, you could have the most advanced computer in the world. You
Yeah.
could download all the softwares. You could work on your skill set. But are you going to be able to use it?
Yeah.
So we got to update that operating system, man. We got to update your identity.
Okay. So that's a good frame. Like that's really good. We need to slow down, get him to actually answer the question, and then me personally, I would ask him, well, why is that? Why do you see that being the case? Because he's agreeing with you, even though you're asking a question. Okay. So I would say slow down, like, well, could you? Like, no, you couldn't. Well, why do you see that being the case though? So then he can start coming more along that that's what his problem is, rather than us pretty much telling him we did ask a question, but he acted as though we're telling him something. And then we just continued on.
To actually be in alignment, generate 10K plus a month.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll be in that state of flow
Yeah.
where things come effortless.
So again, we're using our words, not his words. Again, it's the same thing. You're saying flow, he said play. Let's just say play. We're in that state of play you're talking about. Oh, yeah, right. So it's gonna land a lot more with him personally, because that's the way he views it.
Motivation is endless when you're in alignment with your purpose, man. So, I mean, what do you feel like was maybe missing out of some of the things you've tried in the past with these other coaching programs, with Etsy, with the meditation
That's
work,
good.
some of the things you're doing on your own that you would really be looking?
So what I wouldn't do is lump in him trying by himself to fix his mindset and him getting programs to help with like the more of the actual business model stuff. I'll try to separate the two. So what prevented you in those programs that you took that made it to where you weren't aligned like with your mind and your heart, so you didn't have that drive, right? Like what was missing? this, and this. And have you been looking, or have you gotten any outside help with that, or what's really preventing you from getting any advanced training to really make sure we could constantly get in that state of play and make it effortless to get you to, you know, whatever you said, right? Get you to the 10,000 per month. So I'd want to separate the two because they're two totally different things. I feel like if you lump them all together, he'll probably just answer the courses or the programs he's done before. But really what we need to attack is his inaction, specifically when it comes to getting the help with his mindset.
To get from us here.
I mean, at the moment, I was just interested to talk to you, like, and what you have to offer, to be honest, because I know it's a different kind
Yeah.
of coaching
So he's not answering
program.
the question.
And so I know you
And that might come from asking too much. So it's like the courses, meditation, so it's like you might have asked too much all at once, and then it just caused him to, well, that's a lot, right? So just not answer the question. I just came here for this.
guys tackle it differently, and yeah, I mean, and also to be completely honest, I also just kind of wanted someone to talk to about these things and maybe give me a different perspective.
Of course.
So that's
Boom.
it.
If he's telling you he needs a
Yeah,
different
well, the
perspective,
reason I
you
ask that
smack
is
him
we get
around.
like 1,000+ applicants every month, and then we narrow it down to maybe 100 to 120 people that we talk to,
Yeah.
and then we select 20 to 25 new clients that we bring on board each month. And the reason Quasi does this is he wants to ensure that every client that we bring on board is going to get the results. You know, so I'll be real with you, man. Whether this is going to be like a good fit for you or not, but more so like, what do you feel like you would really need here to actually?
So we need to go back. He didn't answer the question. So he's saying he's looking for a different perspective. So it's good that you addressed that. Oh, I just wanted to see what you guys were doing. So then you addressed why you're asking these questions. Like typically we get a bunch of these in, but we really narrow it down because we want to make sure we get the results for the people that we do bring in. And part of changing what we're doing, if you mind, if I do show you a different perspective, we got to take a look back at why what we have been doing hasn't worked and what might have been preventing us from changing. So then we can go back into the question before we get to ideal criteria, because he did not answer the question.
Achieve the results you're looking for.
What would I need? I mean, I guess, I don't know, some help with mindset or that type of thing, just help in alignment. Just, I think you pinpointed it pretty well, is that we all have the skills. Like I do believe that I have the skills. It's just that what is kind of, I think what my main problem is that I don't give time for things to develop. So
How do you mean?
I've tried all of these different things, and for example, like with my online store, I was able to reach over, now it's almost 1,300 customers. And I made these paintings, but, or like, for example, my career, like I've kind of done all these things, but I didn't have the faith to continue any of them. I didn't have that faith, I guess, in myself or in the universe.
Why
and
not?
I just kind of didn't see
Good.
the future of like, oh, this could turn out to be this amazing thing if you just keep on doing it, because at some point the results kind of do slow down, and it's like you reach that slump
How many
where
times
you
did
have
that
achieved
actually
a lot,
happen?
but it's like you still haven't kind of taken off. I'm not sure if that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense, man.
So kind of like a shiny object syndrome. So I guess on the positive side, I've tried out all of these things. um, achieved some sort of success with all of them. So I think um, the method
What?
of transport is
Why
kind
did you
of,
Okay.
stop though?
why did I stop?
Yeah.
That's what I told you. Like I was not able to see through and
So he already said the reason why he stopped is he didn't have faith in himself or the universe. So it's good that we're digging deeper into this. I would ask, how many times has that happened? And what do you think's behind, this happening 5 different times, you know, that caused you to keep on jumping? Like, what's actually behind you not having faith in yourself? So that's really where that problem's going to be. That's where he's said, like, he's going to probably tell you he doesn't have the alignment, doesn't have the drive, whatever it is. He can't get in a state of play. He's having too much importance. So we can dig more into the problem that way.
I guess I wasn't satisfied with the results that I had in that moment. And so I was just like, okay, let's try out something else. Whereas what I feel like I should have done is just keep pushing in that avenue and just keep pushing
Yeah.
until I see a breakthrough.
When you set these types of intentions in life, life is going to come and test your convictions, right? And if you don't know how to deal with your old self, man, if things aren't living up to your expectations, if you didn't achieve exactly what you wanted, right? It ends up being like hitting this giant wall of emotional resistance,
Yeah,
right? And for most people, when that happens, they see that as a sign of like, this isn't working,
yeah,
right? And they fall right back into old patterns and be.
While you're going through it, good perspective. I would just ask, would you agree? Get a little bit more buy-in from him, because a lot in this conversation we're more telling him some of these things. And some of these things might be landing, some of them might not be. It's hard to tell. So I would always just check in. Like, would you agree? Like, you run into that resistance? Yeah. Yeah. And then you can go on.
Behaviors.
yeah,
Whereas what we teach is called coordination, and it allows for you to surrender this energy behind this old unconscious self. And when you do that, you're able to maneuver around that resistance and still continue forward, do what needs to be done, and actually achieve the end result. Would that be helpful for you, man?
yeah,
Like, to give you an example, our multiple businesses that he had a decent amount of success in, but it was just not consistent. It was all up and down. When things would go haywire, he would jump to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. And after going through the program, he gained clarity around wanting to build his e-commerce store up. And within 3 months, he generated over 700K in revenue
hmm
in that e-commerce store because he was able to gain clarity and bring the mind and the heart into alignment with what was going to actually bring him
Okay,
the
it's good.
most
You used
fulfillment.
what he wanted,
yeah,
what his words were.
So we were able to help coach you through that and even give you like a step-by-step process and the tools for you to be able to coordinate around that resistance and actually achieve the 10K a month. Whether that's in one business or two, whatever.
So if you are going to give a testimonial, like we helped this person do this and that, I would always take it away and put the onus on them. Because what that'll do is, yes, he came in, he followed the program, and he got all these great results. Okay, well, now the focus is on us. Now, and I'm not going to take away, and like what he did isn't typical because he put in a lot of work. So it's just going to come down to, for you, because I don't know if you'll put in the same amount of work he did, but let's say like we did give you the blueprint, gave you everything here, and you put in the work like our other clients do, right? So then we're kind of taking it away, and more the onus is on him that he needs to put in the work to make it happen rather than, the program's magic or something like that.
Whatever's going to bring you the most.
Like there's no magic pill. Like you can always use that line every time. And again, there's no magic pill. It was really, he drew a line in the sand. He stepped across it and he said, enough is enough. with this current situation. So for you, do you feel like we're at that point where it's like we're ready to draw a line in the sand, step across it, and more make that change? Like, why do you feel like you would? So like, what would that actually do for you though? Because like if we know what we're running towards, but Usain Bolt, you put him on a 100-meter line and he's running for that gold. It's not because the medal is gold is the reason that he runs. It's everything that comes with that gold medal, right? Money, women, fame, like whatever it is for him, right? So for you to be able to be in a state of play, not have that resistance, being able to focus and tackle these problems head on, effortlessly, get you to that 10,000 per month. What difference would that actually make for you?
Most fulfillment? Like, could you paint me a picture of what your life would look like then?
Um, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be, I don't think, honestly, I don't think the 10K a month is what's important to me. What's important to me is that I am building something that could be,
Mm-hmm.
that is my life's work, you know, and my
Mhm.
purpose. So, and in order to do that, I need to right now, for example, like get my parents off my back. So
Oh, how do you
try,
mean?
get some sort of vehicle that it will
Okay.
allow me to achieve some sort of
Mm-hmm.
financial independence.
Mhm.
And yeah,
What
I
does he
mean,
mean by
just
financial
Would
independence?
you generating 10K a month, would that allow for you to have financial independence though?
yeah,
Yeah. That's why we set a number on it, man. It's not about the money, right?
yeah,
See, that's good. Typically, what I'll do is if he says something like that, well, I mean, if you're following your life purpose, but you're making $500 a month, like, would you be happy? Like, no. So the numbers matter, right? So you being able to follow your purpose, get to that 10,000 per month. How do you see things really being different though? So get it back on track. Financial independence, that's a big one, right? What does he mean by that? Currently, if he doesn't have it, what's that causing? Is he living with his parents? You know, he's a young dude. I can only imagine, right? Trying to bring a girl over. We got to skirt him past, mom and dad, right? So these are some of the different things like where my mind would go, where I need to start to dive into.
It's about what you could do with the money. So like you being autonomous and financially independent, like what does that do for you personally?
What does financial independence mean?
it would relieve a lot of stress,
Stress?
and it would,
Gave you a big opening right
you
there.
know, calm me down. And yeah, and I think it would allow me to really have more alignment and be able to do more things that I enjoy.
Right.
But how would your life actually be different than it is right now, though?
So the solution awareness questions are good. Where we're going to really get to the emotion and these problems and what it's going to be like is that probing. So it's like, stress. Oh yeah, because of this, and that. So then, oh, like how long has that been going on for? What is that actually doing to you? So you being able to get that stress off your shoulders. How do you see things really being different then than they are now? Right. So just be a little bit more in the conversation. We need to probe, get to what the real thing is.
Honestly, I don't think it would be much different. Be
Bingo, right? Because we weren't able to build that gap into what he just told you. So then when he's saying, well, it wouldn't be much different, him having financial independence, like what do you actually mean by that? So we need to dig deep into what he meant by financial independence, because he's going to paint you a picture of what financial independence is. If he's living at home, which is what it sounds like, I don't know for sure, but that's what it sounds like. Him being able to have his own place versus living at home. That's a big difference. So because we didn't open these things up, we didn't dive deeper into them, then there's not as much of a gap in his mind.
because I already live quite a great life. Um, I travel a lot. Um, you know, I have a loving family and
Yeah, but is he
great
living
group
at
of
home?
friends. Um, I'm like really fit and healthy and super into
Yeah.
sports and fitness. So I guess, I would maybe be able to travel more and have some more freedom in that type of sense. Um, and yeah, seek more opportunities, try to meet more great people. Um, I think that's what my life would be. And I also kind of
Just
I
so
would love
surface
to
level.
be like get get more creative again, because honestly, like the times I felt the happiest was when I was working on these paintings.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really like I was able to achieve my flow state. And I feel like when I'm making art, um, you know, it's really fulfilling for me.
I think that's the case, man. Why don't you just focus on the art?
Well, because mm, yeah, that's a good point. But it's like I feel like the art has um
Okay.
the ceiling is this.
So I'm gonna see where you take it, but where my mind goes, because we're already a bit in a hole right now. If I'm saying not a lot's gonna change, and then he's letting it out subtly. He's not being super open with it, but if you sit and you listen, he's letting you know that right now he's not happy. At least it doesn't seem so. Because when I was doing my art, I was getting into flow and I was very happy. I was happy. So I typically when somebody said they was something, they're no longer that. So that's really where I need to dive deeper into that specifically. So when you said you was happy on a day-to-day basis right now, not really being able to get into that flow or you don't have that mind and heart alignment, like, what do we typically feel? Okay. How long has that been going on for? So you'd be able to actually get in that flow, that mindset, right? Have financial independence. Again, I still need to know what that means. What, paint me a picture, man. How would that actually be different? Like, how would your life be different every single day? We're not running into these issues with tackling problems in our focus. And we're actually able to do the things we need to do and reach financial independence. Okay.
The ceiling that I could hit is lower than what I could hit with other vehicles. If that makes sense.
Of course.
So like for example, this
And again, I think it's because we're allowing him to ramble too much. He's totally contradicting himself. At first, he said it wasn't the money, it was just about the being in flow and being happy. And now he's saying, well, with this other thing, I was in flow and I was happy, but I wasn't making the money. So I switched to something else. Okay. Just something to keep in mind.
coach it's very hard to find a client that will pay you like 10K for a painting. It's possible and it's very cheap. It's possible, but you know, I feel like there's a fewer percentage of that because it's really like it's like being a famous musician, man. Like, you know.
Hmm.
So that's
So again,
kind
we can
of
get it back on the issue of his
that's kind of what
mentality,
was
his
limiting me,
mindset.
but that again could be just resistance that I tell my mind.
Yeah,
There you
yeah,
go.
could you see how that way of thinking could be causing you to perceive reality in that way?
Yeah,
How that could just be a limiting belief, man.
yeah.
So how are you gonna actually overcome that way of thinking, man, so that you can be in a flow state and gain the fulfillment that you're looking for?
Um, well, in the book, Reality Transurfing, it's basically it talks about how the voice of the heart is very quiet, and very, you know, they describe it
Right.
as like if your subconscious
Yeah.
voice is kind of just like the sound of the wind or something, or the sound of like some birds chirping, and your conscious logical brain is kind of like loud music playing.
Mhm.
So maybe what I'm right now, the way I'm seeing it is too logically,
Mm.
and I'm not listening to my heart as
Okay.
much as I should.
Right.
And it's scary, man, because
Ooh, scary. That's a good one.
that's the scariest voice to just, kind of give
Yeah.
up all the rational thinking, because
Yeah, there's a bit of fear there,
just to
right?
do something like that, you know.
What's scary about it though?
Um, well, there is no rationality involved. It's like a uncharted territory.
It's an unknown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, is your fulfillment worth being uncomfortable for though? Going into the unknown?
Yes. Yes.
I mean, with at least your current identity and mindset right now, man, I want you to be 100% real with me.
I would dig deeper into the fear. Okay. Because he just let you know that the reason he's not moving forward or doing these different things is because the unknown is scary. That's my playground right there, right? So it's where I would take it is, so do you feel like you really need to let that fear go in order to be that person you need to be? Like, yes, I do. Why do you need to? Get the why. Because if you hold on to your fear, what's the likelihood you're going to get your XYZ outcome? It's not very likely. So I do have to ask, if another 3, 6, 12 months go by, we hold on to that fear. We don't let it go, even though we know we should. And we're not able to get to the financial independence, the flow state. What impact does that actually have on you, man? And be real with me.
How close do you feel like you are to getting in alignment?
Because that's going to be his biggest objection,
Um,
is going to be fear, the unknown. He doesn't know if it'll work for
I
him.
feel like it's comes in waves. So I have
Hmm.
these periods of, you know, super high motivation. I'm like, I'm gonna turn my life around. I'm gonna do all of this. And there's moments where it's just, you know, there's peaks and troughs, right? So there's moments where I'm like, okay, this is really, really achievable and I can do this. And other people have done this and I'm no different from them. And then there's other periods which I really try to avoid, but they do come regardless of just like me doubting myself, or me thinking about maybe I should follow this corporate career because
Oof.
anyways I have my master's degree and
Yeah.
I could, because the thing is like
Again, we're getting off into the
with where
weeds.
I live in Switzerland,
Hmm.
in in like right now my job, I'm already earning 4.5K a month.
Hmm.
And in
And this is why I don't want to give in to the fact that he's achieved things at such a young age, because now he's saying, oh, I've already got to this point. So he's kind of setting himself up that he is young. He has time. Okay, so those are going to be some pitfalls.
in 1 or 2 years time I could be earning 10K a month, you know, by just getting a job in Switzerland and,
Right.
you know,
It's safe.
yes, but it's not as sexy, you know, it's not as exciting, um, you know, for some reason, even though like I
Hmm.
could also just do something which is more, um, you know, because right now I work as an analyst in a bank, which
Yeah.
is super boring. And for a
Right.
creative guy like me, it's it's so like, yeah, it sucks, right?
And
Because
what
It
what
sucks in what way?
what would actually happen here, man?
Ooh, he just let a big one. So it sucks. Sucks in what way, man? This, and that. He's a creative guy doing a banking job. So I have to ask, man, if you keep on letting your creativity go to waste, 6 months, a year, 2 years, what's going to happen? Like, is he going to lose his spark? Like, does he want to lose his spark?
If you let the fear of the unknown kind of dictate your decision making,
yeah,
and you only make decisions based off of your rational mind, and you were to just go with that job, like what would happen in the coming years?
if I were to go with,
You're just your rational mind, and you just said, you know what? Let me just stick with this job, save. Like what would happen there?
um, well, I would live the traditional life, you know? I would be earning good money. I would have a house, I would have a family, which I will have regardless, right? But
Yeah,
it's gonna be the path, that everyone is taking, the safe path.
But is that path even
And
safe?
there's also nothing wrong with the
no,
career option, right? And I feel
not at
like,
all.
for example, right, for me, I would love to work for maybe some startups or something more exciting. Like that would be great, right? Um, and I do also think that you could achieve alignment with a career like that.
I would not make the distinction that the going with the safe job is the rational thing to do. Because yes, can he make more money in like 2, 3, 4, 5 years? Like yes, but how much quicker can he actually make that money doing something on his own? And if he really put in the work and he knows exactly what to do, he's just not doing it. Which one actually is more rational? Him slaving away for 5 more years, doing something that he doesn't want to do. He's not actually expressing himself. He doesn't like what he's doing versus doing the things he knows how to do. He enjoys doing it and he can make money a lot quicker doing it. Like, which one's actually more rational? So I don't want to make that distinction that it is more rational to go this route. I would make the distinction of fear is keeping you from going into this other route. The one that like I would say is more rational, but fear is preventing you from doing it because there's more unknowns. So it's not more rational. There's just less fear involved with just sticking to what you're doing because people don't want to change. Change is scary. Change is uncomfortable. But who grows inside their comfort zone? Nobody that I know. Okay. So it's going to be a little bit, I think we're validating his path that he's on right now that he clearly isn't happy with too much. And if he knows how to do all these other things, he's just not doing it. I would say it's more rational for him to actually start building more up on his online business, start doing more, and actually be more in alignment, having more play, having more flow, rather than just going to a job that's really going to take his creativity away from him. Because if you go 5 years and you're not using your creativity, what do you think is going to happen to it, man? Like, that's the conversation we need to have.
Right.
Of course you can, man. You could achieve an alignment with anything, but more so, have you considered how it might actually affect you 10 to 15 years from now? If you were to kind of just give up on what you're truly passionate about and bring you the most fulfillment for what's just safe and comfortable?
Yeah, I think it would be, yeah, I would look back and I would, I guess, be a bit disappointed,
A bit.
you know. So yeah, I think it
I'll try to make the time frame shorter. Like, what's gonna happen next month if we're still in this grind every day of not being able to focus and tackle the problems of the things we truly want to do? And we keep giving our energy, our creativity to a job that doesn't fulfill us, rather than pacing them out 10 years, 15 years. Like, the dude's 22. That's like this more half of his life, 15 years. Like, I'm 26. I don't even have the reason to like visualize what 15 years in the future looks like, right? Because like we're young, like we can't picture that. But I can picture if I don't make a change and I keep on falling into these problems, a month from now, it's still gonna suck.
would be a big pain actually. Now that you've brought this on, you know.
Did I bring it on, man, or did I just help you see what would happen?
No, I mean you're
I'm
asking
just
really great
I'm
questions, which
just
I mean,
giving you a hard time, man. I'm just giving you a hard time. Eduardo, is that something that you would be willing to settle for, though?
no, honestly.
Okay, good.
Well, whose choice is it whether or not you settle
I'd
for
ask so why
something like
not?
that or not, man?
It's mine.
So, I mean, are you ready to have a conscious identity shift into the 2.0 version of yourself that allows for you to become a successful entrepreneur who is financially independent and has freedom and is
Yep.
living in alignment with his purpose, man?
Yeah.
Well, why now, man? Why do anything about it like right in this moment? Why not just push it off a few months, kind of see what happens, like most self-motivated people would?
Um,
Right?
so you said like why now and why not in a few months?
Yeah. What?
Because um what I've noticed is that time actually passes by so quickly. And
Hmm.
so if, you know, I honestly think it's been so short since I
Right.
finished my master's, like time has gone by super quickly. And granted, I have done loads of stuff. Um, but it's like, what's it? October, now we're in May. So almost, 7 months have gone by or 8 months have gone by, and I haven't gotten to where I need to be yet.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So that would be good to know.
So
He's finally let you know how long it's
could
been, but that would
easily
be
turn into
much better
15
to know
years
earlier
with
up in
that
the
mentality.
conversation.
You can always make more money, man.
But here's the thing as well is in when I'm having the conversation, I want to get him to buy into the fact that it's not okay to keep doing what he's doing now or on the same path now a week from now, a month from now, not 10 years from now. It would be a problem. Like, no, tomorrow it's going to be a problem if we don't make a change because there's a problem right now.
But you can never get your time back.
Yeah,
So is it time to make a change here, possibly, brother?
yeah,
Okay. Well, that's what I actually.
Like, overall, I don't think the discovery was too bad. I do feel like on some of the problems, the future pacing, we stayed pretty surface level, allowing him to ramble a little bit too much. And I feel like that's what caused the discovery to go out so long to 40 minutes. And then when we present that we don't have enough time to objection handle it because we have another call running up, then we potentially lose that sale. So I would say if this discovery at the longest, like if we're really digging into some deep stuff, 22, 25 minutes. Okay, so sure it up by like 15 minutes, preferably half the time, 20 minutes, 15 minutes. And if you were just staying on the actual problem, not allow him to ramble, go into, different business models, things along those lines, you would have been able to get a lot deeper on what his actual problems are. And then in future pacing, I feel like we left a lot on the table too of not probing on specific things, not widening that gap in his mind, that the stress he's going through, what financial independence actually looks like. His parents are on his back. Why are his parents on his back? He's probably living at home. He doesn't have a car, okay, but he's happy with with the level of financial, like what he's making right now. Like, again, because we didn't widen that gap in his mind, like it led him to be like, oh, well, it's actually not that bad. Okay. So I need to dig a lot deeper into these things. And then once I go into consequence, I would try not to make it so long as far as like what that consequence is going to be, because if he keeps doing this for another week and he doesn't make a change, like that should be enough of a pain for him to move forward, let alone 10 years from now. So I think if we shore up a couple of those different things, it'll allow this conversation to go a lot better. There are a couple of really good frames that you used in here that I really like. I feel like if you just get him to buy in on it a little bit more, use his words a little bit more, we'll be able to get to some of the root of these things. So hopefully that helps.